Welcome to Live with Dara on this Saturday, April 30. Let's sweat like crazy. Yeah. April 30, we're looking at farming. Now, let me just give a little background. Say, when I grew up, right? My father, I never thought about it as farming, but it's really farming. Well, no, he's a farmer, a cattle farmer. Because my father, they have him cow and him goat and everything like that. And we used to get cow's milk and goat milk and them. So, wait, Dara, that's how you look saying that? No, man. Yeah, you used to get the cow's milk and the goat milk and them stuff like that. And, we used to get the meat and everything like that. Mutton and all of those things. Yeah. So, he used to do that. And I guess maybe that's where my love for farming started. We never have no land. I wish I had some land. Anybody would open land when I use it, you can give me some, right? Because I really would have gone into farming. And then when COVID-19 came, and I was at home, working from home, and I realized, you know what happened? We go outside, and I see people, everybody are doing them garden, them backyard garden. And I said, I want to do my backyard garden too. I want to plant callaloo because I love callaloo. I wanted sweet pepper, and I wanted a hot pepper, and all these things. And I did it, and I was able to reap sweet pepper, hot pepper, callaloo in a bun. And then in my yard right now, you have I have a lot of planting trees because I love planting. So yeah, me a kind of sort of a farmer. Yeah, and I really enjoy it. I really enjoy reaping. Especially I watching it grow up and reaping everything like that. It's a nice feeling, right? And if you realize now, some people, like some influencers, social media influencers, they're also getting involved in farming. Look at Unique. Unique has, the other day I saw her putting out something about, her farm and what she's growing and everything like that. And then I see Debbie Bissoon now has this show coming on starting tomorrow on TVJ, The Farm Chick or something like that. So everybody are getting involved in farming. But some people still have the perception that farming is some, one old man in one little water boot or go out and doing things. Tonight I'm going to show you that. Listen, me and you can get involved in farming. Me and you can make money from farming. I'm not talking a little full money. So maybe we should think about giving up the 9 to 5 now, right? And taking a look at farming and all of that. So my guests tonight, I have 2 of them, and they're from Abbey Garden. Now I met them while I was at TVJ, and I went down there and I said, me gateway in a Jervis farm. Me gateway in the farm. Me go inside it and me take off lettuce, and I eat the lettuce and the tomato, and it tastes so good. Really nice. So Jervis is going to tell us how we can, with the little that we have, maybe you live in an apartment, how you can use the little space where you have in your apartment to grow something. If you have a small backyard, how you can do that. And then how you can, if you have a big old land where you're not use, how you can use that and start getting involved in farming. Because you know what, the Russia-Ukraine war has shown us that food security, I know a lot of you not thinking about it. But seriously, we don't need to take it, food security. So if you can grow, them say eat what you grow and grow what you eat, you need to start taking it serious. You understand? And then if you realize sometimes at some point in the year you hear say something short, this short, that short. So it's your opportunity to grow your thing and to, that you're all right, you're secure. So the first person I'm going to bring on is Deandra Rowe. And I want to tell you why I'm bringing on Deandra first is that she is a farmer. But when you look upon her, maybe your idea of a farmer is not what you're going to see. And she is, I think about 3 years ago, she was named Young Farmer. Deandra gave up her corporate life to go into farming, and something must tonight while Deandra did it. So we're going to get a little background on it. So it's just to open your mind to the opportunity of farming, all right? So I'm going to invite my first guest on right now. And Abbey Garden Farm, and that's in Manchester. Lord, I love down there. I don't know, I must ask them if they allow persons to just come on like that. Look at Deandra. You see me, I tell you? Look at Deandra. Let me fix up this thing here. Deandra, like a farmer to you? No.
Good morning, Dara.
How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I am good. I am good. Wait, Deandra, me know why this thing here. Oh, that is why. Come here, I wonder why that cut off my head, so you know. So Deandra, I was just giving them a little background in thing because in why I chose the topic tonight, and I wanted to introduce them to what the typical farmer looks like now, right? It's no longer the
Okay.
thing with the person in the water boot and the stain up shirt and everything like that. Farmer good up at girls and road, right?
That's true.
Yeah, right. So Deandra, I was telling them that you gave up your corporate job to go in farming. Let me take first of all, tell us about Deandra Rowe.
Okay, so I'm a 31-year-old living in Mandeville, Manchester. I'm a graduate of the University of Technology. I studied for a bachelor's degree in hotel and resort management with a minor in meeting and special events planning. I've been farming full time for 7 years, a little over 7 years now, and I haven't looked back.
And tell them why. Because you were in corporate for a while, right?
Yes, I was. After I left university, I did a few jobs. I worked with the supermarket in a supervisory position. I went into sales with ATL Automotive, and then from there, I moved on to farming.
So tell us why the move from corporate to farming. What sparked that move?
What sparked that move? Okay, so being there, I was working with ATL Automotive, and that is a family-owned company. And I was there, and I admired how Adam, basically Mr. Stewart, took over, and he was managing what his father had started. And my father basically started the farming business, and it was there struggling, and I decided to come home because farming is what put me and my siblings through school. It's basically what my father put his all in. That's like his baby, his passion. And I was saying, I'm here helping somebody else to build their family empire while mine is struggling. So I decided that I'm going to take a gamble, come home and see if I could make any kind of positive impact in the business. And if it didn't work, I would simply just look for another job. But I've been there for 7 years and I'm still going.
And you love it, right?
Yes,
Deandra,
sometimes
let me
it's
tell you.
difficult. There are ups and downs, but like any other job, it's not always a bed of roses. Sometimes it's good, and when it's bad, it's bad. Yeah.
You said when it's bad, it's bad. Let's just get that out of the way early because we know say I'm mostly good. Tell me like a bad.
Yes. Pardon?
Tell me like something that would go wrong on the farm. Well, like drought. What
Um, yes. So with the type of farming that we do, or any farming, once there is bad weather, that can set you back quite a bit. Finding good, reliable labor is sometimes a challenge. There are many things that hit farmers. Predial larceny, there are a lot of things that I would consider that's bad, but the good outweighs the bad because farming is a career path that no one can do without basically
so you
because
have to
everybody
eat.
has to eat
So,
every single
yeah, you
day.
have to eat.
And this is, yeah, that's what I tell students when they come because farming is kind of frowned upon. Everybody has this idea that a farmer, as you say, is somebody who is unkept, unclean, probably old, unattractive. Certain people just don't fit in the category of farmer. So a lot of people think farmer, that's the kind of person they imagine. It's not like that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Farming has, well, you have a lot of people that say trying to make farming sexy again.
No, girl, they're doing a good
Farming,
job. Can I tell you?
yes,
You
yes,
include
yes,
it,
yes,
Deandra. Give credit where credit is due. You include it because if people go on your page and see you on the farm, you're growing with your thing and you still look at and everything like that and these things. You see what I'm saying?
yeah. So with farming, there are a lot of opportunities when the students come. I try to encourage them that hey, everybody wants to be a doctor, lawyer, and so forth. I say you might need a lawyer once in a lifetime. You might need to visit the doctor probably every 6 months, but you need a farmer every single day. Yeah.
All right, so that's you told us about the challenges, the opportunity. Of course, the biggest one is that people have to eat, and people have to eat
Right.
every day. It's not something like that, right? Tell me about the typical day in the life of Deandra.
Well, for me, I'm a new mom. My son is a year old, so I have to get up and kind of get things going with him before I get to head out. Then I'll head to the farm and then basically follow up on what the staff is doing or give instructions because we have some reliable staff members who they know that when they get to work, certain things are supposed to be done.
Mm-hmm.
So they would start and I would basically follow up, check if there are any orders there to do, and then I fall in where needed. We do packaging for supermarkets and stuff like that with our other company. So I would fall in to help to fill the orders and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Interact with the customers who come because we do retail sales at the farm. So those are some of the activities that I do.
But you also get down and dirty too. They need to know, say,
Of course,
although you do that,
yes.
you can go and you can plant.
Yes, I plant. Just yesterday I made several. I had on my sprayer knapsack and I was doing weed control. I plant everything. I've done everything that there is to do. I ensure that I can do it also, and I say it to my staff that not because you don't see me doing certain things all the time, it doesn't mean that I can't do it. And what I tell persons all the time, in order to be a good leader, you have to have an idea of how everything is done.
Yeah.
So yesterday when they see me put that spray pan on my back, everybody was shocked because they never see me spraying before. So I did probably about 6 knapsacks full.
Mm-hmm.
I burn grass and stuff, and I was saying, okay, so you know what that mean? You see me now as a female, how many trips I made with that knapsack on my back. When I tell you that I wanted to spray now, I don't want to hear any
Exactly.
complaining.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, as a leader, you have to get your hands dirty. You have to know what it takes to do a particular job,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, I make sure that I'm able to do everything. Things that I might not be as versed on, I'll get help, but I still have a fair idea of how things are supposed to be done.
All right, so they say farmers have to get up early and be on the farm early and then maybe be there late. Is that what it is like for you?
Not at all. Our farm, how my father set it, our farm is automated. So we don't need to get up early hours to go out and water and stuff like that. As long as water is there in the tanks, we have certain systems that come into play that will mix fertilizer. As long as there's stock solution in the stock tanks, it will pull from the stock tanks, mix the fertilizer. The automated timers will come on and switch on the pump and water the various zones. So nobody has to be there that early
Mm-hmm.
to see that those activities are done.
Mm-hmm.
So those things we can set it up in a way that it can start as early as 4 or 5 o'clock without
Okay.
any physical presence being on the farm.
So I must tell them that your farm is like greenhouse. Is that what you describe it? Greenhouse
Right.
or protective farming?
Right.
But do you see this the way you just described? Do you see this as the way farming in general is going nowadays?
It's getting there. Mr. Rowe would be better able to tell you because he's more on the ground. He's all over the island and doing the consultations and stuff. I am basically on the farm, but I would assume that that's how it's going with a lot more young people entering the agricultural space. They are thinking technology and stuff like that. So
Definitely.
I would assume so.
All right. So before I get Mr. Rowe on, tell me what do you plant? What do you farm? Tell me about the crops.
Sorry. So we do things like lettuce. We do a lot of leafy greens, tomatoes, a lot of culinary herbs like basil, mint, parsley, rosemary, sage, those kind of things. Grape tomatoes. Sorry, it varies from time to time what we have available.
You must tell them about the strawberry too. The good strawberry on the plant in a tire. Jesus.
Yes, we do strawberries as well.
Yeah, man. I mean, this, and you said people can't come to the farm because I didn't want to just put out that out there and next thing they will go bomb rush in the farm. But you allow people can just walk in and oh, you okay?
Sorry, I'm recovering from the flu.
Oh, okay, all right. So you said people can come to your farm, Deandra, or they need to give you notice because of course you need to protect the environment as well, right?
Yes, for retail sales, well, persons come there just to purchase, but persons who want to walk around and do tours, you would have to make some arrangements prior to that. You'd have to set like an appointment for us to be available because that takes up a lot more of our day, depending on what they want to learn and so forth. So for tours, yes, you have to inform us prior to coming and we set a date and time when you can come in. Right now, we're kind of, we have a pause on tours because we have a lot of things going on presently. So we have a little pause on tours. But as it relates to persons coming to purchase, they can come from Monday to Friday between the hours of 8 and 4 p.m.
And when you say tours, we're not just talking about high school students because I come to your farm anytime I come to Manchester and I'm always in awe at the different technology in play, how you use the whole rainwater harvesting, how you do the whole planting of the lettuce and all those things in the little pipe and them something there. So it's always something new for me when I come down there. So you have like tourists or something like that? Do you have people like that come to your farm?
Yeah, people who want to get into this type of farming, they normally come as well and they'll ask questions. Sometimes people say they see our things on YouTube or Instagram or somebody referred them and they want to see what it's all about. We welcome anybody who wants to learn about this type of farming. So it's open to anybody, not just schools. Individuals come sometime. Tourists come. We have a lot of expats. They come and they shop on a weekly basis. So sometimes they want to walk around with us while we're harvesting and stuff like that. So it's not limited to just schools.
Okay. And that's what I wanted to ask you again. So you say you have those persons. I know you supply like supermarkets and hotels. Do you export?
No. Currently, we aren't able to fill the local demand. The local demand is a lot greater than what we're actually producing right now. So we wouldn't have to venture into export at this time.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, man, because I'm saying, and then people underneath say the things like is it bell pepper or sweet pepper?
Both of them, we call it bell peppers or sweet pepper.
Them are some big
We use them interchangeably.
Yeah, the things that they get from protective agriculture, from greenhouse farming is so, the quality is up there. It's just way different. And persons who may be interested in farming and maybe want to do it in the backyard under a similar system can get a similar quality, right?
Yes, they can.
All right. So let me call on the real big man himself now to tell me how we can do it in the little backyard that I have. And now we're turning over to my friend, Deandra's dad, Jervis Rowe. And he's going to tell us how we can use a little split. Deandra, thank you so much. You here?
You're welcome, Dara.
Where is Abbey Garden again? It's Hatfield?
A little outside of Hatfield. So it's Abbey Gardens, Kingsland. So we're in the community of Abbey Gardens.
Oh, that's the name of the community? You know, I
Yeah, Abbey
always just thought it's
Gardens,
your farm.
Kingsland.
Oh, okay. Okay, all right. But you can't miss it because they have the big sign out there, so you can't miss it if you see if you want to go there. Where's Jervis?
He is waiting to come on, so I'll assist him with that.
Okay, all right then. All right. So, you see, we're mentioning about this farming thing now, people. I mean, so Deandra spoke to us about, oh, Deandra left. Okay, so send me back the invite, Deandra, when you come on, right? So, she's telling you about the benefits of farming. I mean, tell you, with the little space where you have, even if it's your kitchen window, you can farm something. Instead of you go to want to buy tomato, you can plant a little tomato. All right, so Jervis coming on here now. So let me get him on. And he's going to tell us how we can do it. I'm excited. Hold on. All right. So, of course, so you met Deandra. And I didn't even ask her about the champion farmer thing. Hi, Jervis. Oh, God. All right. So, you met the daughter. Now you're meeting the dad, right? And Jervis, Deandra took us through the whole thing of farming and the exciting things about, you know, the benefits of farming. And of course, the benefits far outweigh any challenges that we may have. So, first thing I want to ask you, right, in terms of, I was asking Deandra, in terms of protective agriculture, which is like the greenhouse farming and the open field agriculture. Do you see people now who have whole heap of land doing like a similar thing, like protective in terms of the whole? I was telling her, she was explaining about mixing the, not having to wake up early to go water because you have the technology in place to do all of that. Explain for me, because you're the real greenhouse guru.
Okay, Dara. Yes, we have been seeing a gradual, turning away from for a lot of crops.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, certain crops are out there that are just open field crops, right? Things like banana and plantain and yam and all of those. Primarily your tubers, your stem tubers, your root tubers. However, for the vegetables and the high-priced vegetables such as, your tomatoes, your sweet peppers, your lettuce and so forth, what we're seeing is that more persons are actually think they're considering greenhouse solutions in order to get good quality stuff in a consistent manner all the while. So we're actually seeing a whole lot of persons turning their heads in that direction, despite the biggest challenge that they have, and is actually the initial high cost to set up these protected structures. Nevertheless, we're actually seeing persons now taking it very seriously. They're going to the bank, they're going to the credit unions, and they're actually borrowing hard cash at not single digit interest rates, at commercial rates. And they're actually investing, and setting up their farms.
All right, so before you go to the big money part of it, which is setting up those greenhouses, right? For persons who really have a love for farming and would really want to start off maybe in their backyard and the kitchen window, let's say you have an apartment and you have the balcony and you can go there. Because Jervis, I must tell you, when I came down there, my excitement, when I came down there and I saw you growing strawberries out of tires. Remember that? Remember that news story? And the
yes, I remember.
Because... so sweet.
Yeah, I remember. Yes, I remember. It's years ago, but it was almost like yesterday.
Wow.
Because I remember when you came and you saw me with all the times, you were saying, yeah, Jervis, well, I don't know, you're going to tire business. Yeah. So I was saying, no, you will see what comes out of it when we're finished. And luckily, you saw before we started, and then you came by and you saw the finished product. Yes. So long gone are the days when persons used to speak about the farm being somewhere out in the woodland, and you have to have 500, 600 acres or acres of land. Your farm can be right on your balcony. Your farm can be on a wall inside your garage. Your farm can be just about anywhere.
Because like if you have like a little wall space, you can just create like some boards and just plant different things.
Right, and because farming has moved away from just growing in soil alone, and we have now moved into what we call hydroponics, right? And then now hydroponics gives you a wide range of growing techniques. You know, so you have hydroponics. The popular one that most persons know is like NFT, nutrient film technique. That is the one that you have the little white pipes and you're growing in the pipes.
So that's like water pipes, right?
Yes, that is like a PVC pipes.
Yeah.
And you have the holes in there and you stick the plants inside there, and that is one technique. Then you also have another technique that is called DWC, deep water culture, and this could be something like a drum, a half a drum cut, and it's just filled with nutrients, and the plants are on a raft or a styrofoam tray, and they're just floating on top of the water. And that is another technique. There's also another technique that we have at the farm, and that one is called an Emman flow form of hydroponics. And here now, this is like a table on an incline, and it's filled with substrate, usually perlite or coir or gravel. And the plants are actually introduced into that. And the only way all of these plants in all the systems that I've described to you earlier, the only way of getting nutrients is from the nutrients that is introduced with the water. And that is why now hydroponics is actually this, the definition is actually hydro means water and ponics is culture. So hydroponics is a water culture, and everything now has to take place within water. So even persons are talking about aquaponics, which is actually growing fishes and using the water from the fish waste to grow plants. That is also a form of hydroponics as well.
Oh, because that will provide with the fertilizer.
There you go. Right. So even when you talk about aeroponics as well, which is actually having the plants suspended in a space and the roots are exposed, and every now and then you just have a gush of fine sprayed mist. Just spray onto the roots. Spray onto the roots. Spray onto the roots. And that is actually
So Jervis, so the aeroponics coming like something we can do in my backyard then. We just get some board and plant something and just go spray it every now and then and it grow.
Right, so that is why you say the technology now, that is what gives you the automation, because naturally this requires that you do it probably every 15 minutes or so. So you have your timers, and you have your high pressure pumps, and you have your jets and everything, and all of that takes place systematically. It's all up to you now if you want to do night and day or you just want to do day. It all depends on the crop that you're doing. But critical to all of these is that there has to be a balance between your nutrients and the amount of water and air that mix that you deliver to the plants. But again, getting back to the original question, this now gives us the opportunity to do all of these growing techniques because you really do not want soil. You don't have to be growing in the soil. And as such, when you come to our farm, we could actually show you plants growing in tires, like the tire towers, right? And we have a mixture of sand and coir and perlite.
Guys, and the tire towers that he's talking about, it was like a piece of like a metal thing, and then you have the tires on it, like maybe you start with a big tire down the bottom.
Yeah, the truck tires at the top, the truck tires at the bottom, then you have your SUV tires in the middle, and then you have your car tires at top. So it gives you a Christmas tree sort of array. And that is important because you need light distribution. So really you need to have this triangular approach so that the ones at the top do not shade out the ones that are at the bottom. And of course now you have to collect all of this water, right? And the water has to recirculate. So all of these are closed circulatory systems versus open systems which uses a lot of water and a lot of nutrients that goes to waste.
Right.
We have done greenhouses on the top of persons' roofs. We have done greenhouses on balconies. We have done greenhouses in people's office. So there, we have done all of that. So there is really no excuse now for persons to say that they really can't grow what they want to eat. So now you can truly eat what you grow and grow what you eat.
The
Because
tire.
land is no
Okay, so the
longer.
tire one that you're talking about, right? What can we grow in that tire one?
Yes.
The Christmas tree
What
tile.
yes, yes. Well, that was just giving a part of the technical layout in that, we have these towers and we could easily be manufacturing those and selling them to people, because they are so very efficient. We could even set them in a way that you could actually turn them, but then you don't really need all of that. You can walk around it. And you have your irrigation system that goes with it and all of that. And all the leachate is collected and can be recycled. So that has worked for us very well. And one other thing that it does is that it gives you an alternative to what do we do with all of these tires. And if you remember when we did that project, it was when tires were an environmental problem.
Right.
And you yourself said that, boy, what Jervis, this project is actually taking on tires from two perspectives. One from the environmental aspect, and then the other from an agricultural aspect as well. So we're very happy to marry both of those sectors together in this way. And I remember even I was doing it, there were persons going around spraying for mosquitoes. And that was our way to get rid of some of the used tires from out of our community.
Yeah.
After a while, person in Montego Bay was calling to ask me if I don't need tires.
I know, I remember that one. So Jervis, I want to go back to the aquaponics, right?
Yes.
Because a whole heap of we have drum in our backyard where full up with water. And we could really put it to good use and plant some things on top of it and go and reap. When you mentioned it though, something I was thinking about. What about like at the challenge, like mosquitoes?
Well, you see, that is it, You see, once you have fishes in the water,
Yeah.
you will not have any problem with mosquito. You will actually come to our farm and you see a whole lot of ponds and all of that. But once you have sunlight passing effectively through the water, and the water level is just not basically, it's up and down. Because normally, where the mosquitoes, they really need to have a place that they lay the eggs. Like on the side of the tank or something like that. But our water does not stay stagnant. It is always being pumped up and down and all of that. And furthermore, that is just rainwater. And we really don't have a mosquito issue with water like that. So I don't know of anybody who are harvesting rainwater and using it at the rate that we, as how we use it, have any problem with mosquitoes. But what we do as a precaution though, the same fishes that you hear they talk about called tiki, we call them janga or banga. We do have those in our ponds as well as we have regular fishes that from time to time I go there and see the workers them throwing line inside there. So we actually use the fishes there to help with any sort of mosquito if that were to happen. But we really don't have the fish there as a part of our like we're growing it for meat or anything like that. It's just basically to assist in creating that balance in the environment.
By the way, so them get big?
Yes, they do get big.
Like
yeah,
what big? Like 1/2 pound?
And it's just amazing to Dara because nobody feeds them or anything, So fishes are just so amazing to me because, Deandra feed the cats on the farm and those cats are like leopards and tigers and lions. But nobody feeds the fishes. And yet we still see very, very big fishes inside here.
So that means you move from just agricultural produce to we call that now with fish farming.
Yeah, that could be referred to as freshwater fish farming. Yeah. But as I said, that the fishes are there just to give us that ecological balance with the environment. So they're not really there for us to harvest and reap and eat. However, workers have already been doing that to some extent.
Why, Jervis? You and I, we're here talking about your farm. But I think people won't have a true appreciation of it until like they visit the farm and then see what we're talking about in terms of the ponds that you have that you've made, man-made ponds, and how you use the ponds and you transport the water to the different sections. It is just simply amazing. But let me get back to what I want to talk to you about. So what would be like, let's say I want to start a little backyard farm, right? But I don't have enough space to do no big or something. what would you advise us? And let's say for persons who maybe live in apartments, etc., with limited space, what would be reasonably priced? What would be the one that you say is the go-to one for us?
Okay, fine. So the first thing about it is that each space that we have to do something for is that you build the product to match the type of space that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So if the space is one that requires that you need to keep rainwater out of the space, then we'd have to give you the protection that would come now with a small greenhouse, as we call it. So this is now a protected structure that would have like polyethylene on top, plastic, or we could use polycarbonate, or we could use any other thing. Well, I mean, we don't use glass in Jamaica because it's too expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So the most popular cover that you have on the outside of the greenhouse is actually plastic, and it's UV treated greenhouse plastic. And it has to be that because if you just use regular plastic, within a matter of months, it deteriorates due to the action of the ultraviolet rays
Mm-hmm.
acting on the plastic.
Mm-hmm.
And when we come there and we look at your space, the good thing about it now is that Abbey Garden also has a sister company by the name of Central Greenhouse Supplies and Services.
Mm-hmm.
Now that is where we offer all of the service as it's related to building protected structures and setting up irrigation systems, setting up solar water pumping systems, setting up solar systems for farms and all of that. So that is where we do all of that along with the consultations and all of that. So we'll actually come to your place, we'll visit your space, and if there's a need for a small protected structure, we could actually give you a costing and all of that based upon what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times, if space is limited, it means now that we'd also introduce to you some form of vertical farming, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we would not only just be putting 10 little pots or 15 pots on the floor of your greenhouse and it's done. No, now we'd actually have to go up to benches and steps or whatever so that you can use that vertical space. Once you start using vertical space, you have to take into account now still the number of plants that will occupy the space, because you don't want plants in a space competing for light and nutrients and air and all of that. So we still would have to have some caveat on how many plants can be in the space. But considering that you're going up, then you're using more of the vertical space. All right. Once we do that now, we also might be in a situation where we can no longer consider growing directly in the soil as an option.
Mm-hmm.
And as such, we'd have to now use some form of containerized gardening, container garden. So you can have flower pots. We could actually have, yes, we could have the flower pots. We could have tires that we cut and design in particular way. We could have big PVC pipes. We could also, I see a circle here. So right, we could also make, boxes and line them with plastic or pond liner. You can grow in all of those.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right, so Jervis, before you go on and tell me about that, I know that is where you come in, right? But before I call on the services of Central Greenhouse Services and Supplies.
Central Greenhouse Supplies and Services.
Okay, Central Greenhouse Supplies and Services. Before I call that, I want you to just talk to the little man where say, I want to do some farming. Just give some tips, because I know on the protected side, on the greenhouse side of it, as you were saying, it involves a little money to get it started. But if you have a little space in your back and you have about 4 tires and you want to do something like that, can you do it? Can I go on the back of my yard tomorrow and say, you know what, we're going to set up the entire and start grow things?
Absolutely. And if persons were to visit the farm, I remember that Deandra reaped 34 or whatever, I don't remember, about 34, 35 pounds of sweet potatoes from her tire towers.
Sweet potatoes?
Yeah, yes. Her tires now though was much simpler. All you had was just like probably 4 tires stacked on top of each other, and you fill the entire middle of that. So in the country, we'd go ahead and say, all right, we're digging yam hill or we're making sweet potato hill.
Uh-huh.
But you don't have to physically dig the hill. So you just stop the tires and fill the tires now with soil. And you can go ahead and you can plant yam, you can plant potato, anything you want to plant inside that. Reaping is absolutely a joy because all you really need to do now is just start lifting the top tires off and you're actually picking up the produce from out of the
Look
middle.
at that.
Right, so that is one of the techniques. Critical no, we always love to let persons know that if we put plants and expect them to perform in a particular way, you need to give them the things that they need. And plants don't ask for a lot. They want good water, they want a little bit of nutrients. Plants don't eat as much as what persons think they eat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we have discovered that on our farm because we have automation that we can actually determine how much food the plants can get at any given time. So, you know, you're in the back of your yard, you really want to do that as well. You have a little bit of nutrients. I will not say organic or inorganic fertilizer. Because fertilizer is fertilizer, you choose the one that you want. And you feed the plants accordingly. You know? So that is one of the techniques.
Let me just wait before you go to the other technique, Jervis. I remember seeing something from the Ministry of Agriculture where them say if you have your fruit, like the fruit skin, like your banana peel and all of them something there, it can become a fertilizer for you. So you don't have to go buy fertilizer.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Right. And the process is called composting.
Composting.
Because yeah, and it's a fairly easy concept. Because foods don't just evolve out of anything. Foods are actually created from the nutrients that they absorb from the soil or whatever substrate you have them in. So basically, when you're eating food, you're actually eating direct, straight energy from the soil, right? So some of the energy is in the skin, some is in the seed, some is in the all parts of the plant that you don't consume.
Mm-hmm.
So when you actually throw that away, but back in the days, your father, I don't know if he used to raise pig.
No,
but
no,
that is
no,
why we used
Rasta,
to feed
no, Jervis. No, Rasta.
We know.
No pig round here.
No pig around here, right?
No.
But that is what we used to feed. That is what they used to feed the animals.
Uh-huh.
And the animals used to be big and fat same way because a fair amount of food or nutrients is within these peeling skin. So you throw that inside of a particular space. So normally you dig a hole, right? With soil and you throw in layers. So you throw and then you add soil to it. And some of the time you can actually go there, put a little bit of water, and you can actually turn it. And it is through the microbial action of the microbes within the soil that all of this can be broken down. You know, things like earthworms come and they do the first part of it, chewing up the leaves and all of that stuff. You know, even maggots are there, and not all maggots are bad. You know, some of them break down things, and eventually it can actually break it down into a form that is now safe and not smelling too bad, and you can use it to fertilize your farm. Or use it as a potting.
So Jervis, I'm now getting excited. Maybe tomorrow you see me go and get some 2 tires or 3. Go to the tire shop, go get like all 3 tires. Oh. You hear me, Jervis? All right. I think we have another. Well, is it me or is it Jervis? Because you know sometimes this thing here. You hear me now, Jervis?
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you much better now.
Okay, yeah. So let me tell you, this is how it is when we go live. Whatever can go wrong will. But I'm saying I'm now feeling inspired to go get 3 tires and go start do some farming tomorrow.
Yes, it's very simple. It's very simple, Dara. And basically, if you start out a particular way, let's say you started the first time you had some soil there, and then you start throwing your compost and you start throwing your compost on the soil. and you could allow that to sit there for a few weeks, and it's properly decomposed. One of the ways that you can know if it is decomposed fully is that you could actually push a stick down the center of it, and if the stick is warm, then you know that the microbial activities are still going on. Because once you have respiration and you have combustion or whatever, it's going to produce heat. But once it gets cool and nice, so you know that all of that is finished, and it is now safe that you could introduce, you know, a young seedling or a young plant into the space. You know, so several things are out there that we can do with simple things that are around the house.
So give us some tips. So give us some tips now. Like a person's living in an apartment or the person with a little space. We want to start.
All right.
Give us some tips.
All right. So a person in a little space and you're living in an apartment, right? What I'd probably recommend for that person living in an apartment is that they'd have to do some form of hydroponics. The hydroponics is not, and with the hydroponic system, if you're already in an apartment and you have a patio or anything like that, that will give you, and you have sufficient sunlight, then you could actually set up your pipes. And we do make small systems like those. As a matter of fact, Ricardo Chambers, who is associated with Abbey Garden Farm in some certain ways, he makes those and he sends them out to people. And these are actually self-contained growing systems that you can use. And you can plant a variety of vegetables and even bigger plants inside of them right there on your patio.
Is it
right?
reasonably priced?
So I remember, yes, reasonable price, because you have like, I don't know the price that he has on it, but it is reasonable because everything that you need to make it, we could easily give you a shopping list and you could go to the hardware and buy the stuff. And all you actually pay for is probably the consultation to put it together, you know? And then after that, now you need somebody to teach you how to use the system as well, you know? Right. So that is what I'd recommend for persons who have very limited space. When I've done the ebb and flow system, this guy came to my farm and he saw what we did. And he actually went back to the bar.
Just remind us again for persons, because some persons have come on and some persons have come off.
Okay.
The ebb and flow, remind us what it is again?
Right, the ebb and flow system is actually what is also called a tabletop system.
Right, right.
So consider that, let's put it simple. Let's say that you get one sheet of plyboard, which is usually 4 feet by 8 feet. And you box up the side of the card of the plyboard using some 2x4 lumber. Right? So you do 3 sides and you put it on an incline. So it's on a slope.
Right.
And then now, all you have to do is make the plyboard now impermeable. So you line it with plastic or pond line or anything like that will allow water to soak through. After you have done that now, the bed is set. All you can do now is just go and get gravel of a particular grade and you put it inside there. And you could actually have that as a system. And all that happens now is that you introduce water with nutrients and it runs down, it trickles down. And while it is trickling down, the roots are there just absorbing what they want. So it trickles down to the lower point until everything is at the lower point. Then it pumps back up from the lower point back to the top section, and the process continues. And that is why I refer to it as being a closed circulatory system, because you're sending water from the bottom to the top, water from the bottom to the top. And you do that and you can plant several crops using the same solution, using the same water, until you get to a point where you say, okay, I did 2 crops or 3 crops, and I need to change this water now. You can either get all of that nutritive solution and put in a new one, as well as you could also doctor that nutritive solution to get it back right up to balance with what is supposed to be inside there. But most of the time, we recommend that you change it out and you just put a different one.
Okay.
So that is one way.
Yeah, but then
We also
you might waste the fertilizer, Jervis, because but then you'd make it of a particular volume, so it doesn't waste.
Yeah,
right?
definitely. No, nothing will be wasted, because after you do probably 3 or 4 crops, you should basically just have mainly water. And some of the times when we don't get to change the nutritive solution early enough, what you see is that the plants start getting yellow. And that is how plants communicate with you that something is wrong with the
That's it.
nutrition. The leaves start changing color and start getting smaller. And once you go ahead now, flush that out. And what we do, because you know our situation with water, we don't just send that water to waste. We actually send that water back into the irrigation pond. So when we let's say that in the hydroponic house, we have done 3 crops of lettuce using that nutritive solution. After 3 crops, we pump out all of that nutritive solution back into the freshwater pond. And we're sending a new mixture of fertilizer solution. So we really don't lose the water as such. Our system is not such now that if anything, let's say that you wanted 20 parts per million, and it started getting a bit technical.
No, don't get too technical, because we don't want to run those words. Right.
We don't want to run anybody. Yeah. But let's say that you wanted 20 parts per million of a particular nutrient, let's say calcium, and that is what you want to grow the crop. If when I throw back my nutritive solution into the freshwater pond, it actually sends back 5 parts per million into the earth. I can now recover that 5 parts per million, and I only now need to add 15 to get back 20. So that is one of the beauty now using automation, where you really do not have a lot of wastage of nutrients or water. So even the smallest of systems that would introduce to somebody at your home, and they're doing it at home some of the time because they're working people, but they still want to do this. So nobody has the time to be sitting down to waste 5 minutes of water run, and when it's full up, you throw it back up to the top. So all of these systems have to be automated, and they have to work on their own, and they have to check and double check themselves.
Jervis.
And we design and we build these systems.
So,
yes.
so this is for the greenhouse part of it. Do you get a lot of requests, or do you get any requests at all from open field farmers to maybe install a similar system for them?
Yes, we get a lot of requests from open field farmers, particularly those persons doing hot peppers. Some persons want to do vegetables like sweet peppers and tomatoes in open field. So the only difference with this now is that, you know, when you're in open field, you have no control over when rain falls and how much of it you get. But nevertheless, you still want to make sure that the plants do get water. And you have sensors now that if rain fell, the sensor will tell the irrigation system, don't come on because we have enough water in the soil already. So that is actually technology that is out there that you can use. You know, so we get in that. We have in persons now asking us to do irrigation systems, you know, half acre, 5 acre, whatever. We also even do other systems in areas where persons don't have any water at all. And we build for them now what we call some sheds, rain sheds. So we build like a hut, and you collect the water from the roof, you put it in a 1,000 gallon tank, and then now you allow the water from the 1,000 gallon tank to run into the field, which usually has to be below where the tank is by virtue of gravity. So we have actually been doing all sorts of things like that, you know, to make sure that, you know, anybody who wants to do agriculture can do agriculture.
Jervis, I hear. So an excuse that people say all the time is, oh, you know, I do that, but I don't have a green thumb. So, No such thing as a green thumb. Because you know, when I started to plant my pepper, you know, my pepper, them never there go nowhere at all. It's like them just they're stagnant. But no, my pepper tree are going out and bad. I mean, like today I went and I was cooking a little flash out. And it felt, you know what I'm talking about, and it felt so good because I just go outside, go pick up a pepper and
over your own tree.
Eh?
Over your own tree.
Over my own tree, and the pepper, what did I Jervis? The pepper was so good.
Yeah, man. So it plants are just so spectacular. Because when you really think about it, you know, we're in the mango season now, right? And I don't know tell you how we underestimate plants. You know that probably over 90% of the mangoes that we're currently eating are from trees that are probably over 50 years old.
Mm.
So when you go out of St. Thomas and you get the nice East Indian them or Julia or whatever, all of these are some old mango trees, you know?
Mm.
And the plants do this every year, they just produce for us. So if we just give the plants the little that they ask
The
of
little
us, you must
nutrient.
imagine how they would reward us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that is what I always say. So you really need to make sure that if you're gonna be demanding certain things from the plants, you make sure that you give them what they want in order to give you what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And the plants also like they want nutrition, they want to be free from pests and diseases, they want to make sure that they have adequate light, and you want to have adequate air.
Mm.
That's it. So giving too much water sometimes can be just as bad as not having enough water.
Yeah,
You know, because
you can get lazy sometimes and say you just go soak it with the water, so you don't have to go back again. That's not good, right?
no, right. Remember, that in the soil in your grow media, well, let me use soil.
Mm-hmm.
What happens is that the space within the soil itself, the space between the soil particles is occupied by water and air, right? So when there's a drought, there's actually far less water than there is air. Let's say you probably have 80% air inside there.
And there's water, right?
And that is what you're going to be in a drought condition.
Mm-hmm.
Then now when the rain start fall and you have 80% water, now you end up with a waterlogged situation. Because ideally what you want is to have 50% water and 50% air. And that would be the ideal for the plants.
Mm-hmm.
So we have actually gone to persons who are on the national irrigation grid. And what they do is that they're going to work in the morning and they turn on the irrigation system and it runs the entire day. And then when they come back later in the afternoon, they turn it off. That is crazy.
That's wasting.
They're literally killing the plants. Yeah, you're killing the plants. So
It's
a proper
like
irrigation.
overeating.
There you go. But the plant really shuts down, It doesn't absorb any of that water. Because the thing about it is that I remember that 50% balance. So where there's water, there's no air. And where there's too much air, there's no water. No, you have to remember now that the roots also need to respire. And respiration has to take place in the presence of oxygen. So oxygen has to be within the soil. So if you just flush out all of the air out of the soil by adding too much water, the roots are actually down there suffocating. So that is what happens. And then now, when the time gets dry, to the extent that there's absolutely no water, the reverse of that takes.
Wow.
So everything is just all about a balance. Are you breaking up again or are me breaking up?
You hear me now?
Oh, I lost.
No, I'm still here. You hear me?
Yeah, man, I'm hearing you now.
Yeah. I don't know. It's become like we started the connectivity issue. But yeah, I know we can't use 1 hour or half an hour to really explain the techniques involved in farming and the beauty of farming. And then, a lot of people really don't see farming as sexy. So while you and I are here talking and I'm just listening to you and like eating out every word that you say, right? Not everybody will be like that. Do you offer, apart from when you're doing the consultancy to set up the greenhouse, do you offer general consultancy to persons that maybe somebody who want to do a backyard thing themselves, they can call you and say, hey, this is it, blah, blah, blah. How can I do that?
Yes, and we do offer that service freely. As I tell persons that if you want to call me and we talk on the phone, we can talk for as long as you want and it doesn't really come at a cost.
Wow.
If I have to drive out to your place now, then no, I am incurring costs and we'd have to pass that on to you. And the reason why we do that, is that we're in the supply part of the market as well. So if I'm out there telling about things, it is very likely that some of the things I'm telling you about I actually sell it. So I could actually get back money now when you're doing your project.
Right.
So you can't just want everything, and if you don't talk, people don't know. And if they don't know, they can't support what you're doing. So I don't have any problem talking to persons about doing any form of agriculture, that is within my ambit of knowledge.
So I know like the greenhouse part though is for the people that who have a little money.
And it is changing now. It is actually changing.
It is?
Because it is changing.
What's the average cost
Because
to do a greenhouse?
the average cost is about $750 per square foot. And when we say that, let's say now the regular house that they have out there is like 30 by 100. So 3 sevens is 21, about $2.1 million. Right. For a space that is 30 feet wide by 100 feet long.
2.1 million.
Yes.
Some people don't even have a house. They're 2.1 million.
Right. Right, but you don't have to go in at that level.
Okay.
Because everything goes by size, and it doesn't have to be metal. It could be a house that is constructed from wood. It could be a house that is constructed from a mixture of wood and PVC pipe. And there are several, because when I built my first greenhouse in 1988, 89, it was from wood totally. And that greenhouse got destroyed by the first shower rain, the second shower rain, the third shower rain, until we finally found a way to keep the greenhouse up. And after we did wooden greenhouses for a couple of years, we realized now that the maintenance cost was too high on it, and we started moving into metal. So in order to keep the cost down, we usually get the used burnt out boiler tubes on the backside company, and we use those to build greenhouses. They became a problem where they started deteriorating fast as well, and breeze start bending them up and all of that. So we just got into the business and got the right stuff that we can use to build greenhouses that can last us for the next 15, 20, 25, 30 years.
All right.
And that is what we offer now.
I would want to do a Christmas tree kind of technology in my yard, because the fact say it's a vertical thing, you can get more out of it for the same little space. So let's say let's say I'm interested in doing that. How much would something like that cost me?
Well, I've never really put a costing on it, but I don't anticipate that anything like that. If you just want one tour, I don't see that costing no more than probably about $15,000.
Not bad.
Buy the pipe, bore up the tires and everything, and fill in the middle part of it with all of that. So we don't see costing no more than that to do a tour.
Wow, not bad, Jervis. Not bad at all. So I'm gonna call you on the phone and you give me some consultancy, and then because Jervis, it's a really good feeling. Me tell you, this afternoon when I go pick the pepper, well, I broke off piece of the pepper leaf, because I never know how to really pick the pepper off, right? So I kind of start to mash up my tree. But it felt so good to be able to just go out there and just pick a pepper and just come and put it in the pot. It also feels so good when I see my planting tree, when we shoot and we can go chop it down and get some big ass plantings. This is when I say it's a good feeling. And I think until people start to get involved in the whole process, they won't understand the feeling that you and I share in terms of farming.
The thing about it in Adara is that irrespective of where we are now, once we're Jamaican, we're an island state, and I don't believe we could find 2 people out of 10 who does not have some form of connection with agriculture in one form or the other. I mean, that is just how we came up through slavery and all of that. And somehow that is probably why I want to distance ourselves from it. But at the end of the day, based upon the sheer importance of this practice, I mean, people just have to get involved. And if I might share that what is happening out there right now with Russia and Ukraine, it will have an impact. It has started having an impact already.
Definitely.
And we have been looking too far for too long now. for other persons to feed us. I remember when I was writing my first resume, which was years ago, I said that basically a country that cannot feed itself must not consider itself to be independent. So we're not really independent because right now, if rice and flour and corn stop come here, it is gonna be big problems out there. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
You know, somebody, you must imagine that, you know, somebody wrote an article to the extent that the current cost of living in Jamaica is as a result of local farmers hiking the prices for their produce. And I don't agree with that none at all. You know, and they have picked out tomato and sweet peppers as two other crops.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, those are premium crops that farmers depend on to make some money. But at the end of the day, you know, people don't just get up and eat tomato and sweet peppers, but they eat rice and flour and dumpling and this and that. And all of those are imported stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that is where the real inflation really comes from. It's not the local production that we're doing here.
Yep.
So they need to put the blame right where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
But then now, if we continue to remain totally dependent on these guys to feed us, then we'll forever be stuck with this inflation problem, irrespective of which side it's coming from. Several years ago, before the pandemic, we were doing like what 900 million US per year for food. I think that was the figure, 900 million. That was the food import bill. You know, and I am sure that, you know, we can do much better than what we're doing right now. But one of the things about it, too, Dara, is not only the capacity to produce, but what we need is also the capacity to educate persons on how they can now turn them on and use the different things that they produce to do different things.
True.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, years ago, we started blending banana and breadfruit flour with wheat flour, you know, and all of a sudden it stopped. Years ago, we were actually planting rice down in Ealing, and then now some bright person decided that no, we don't need to plant rice because we can import rice for nearly half the price or lower than what we take in to grow it. And they just scrapped the program totally. Now we're at a position now wishing that we had stuck with it and found more economical ways.